All right. The last video went so well. I just feeling that energy, that mojo to go on with the second video. This video is for my buyers. Oh my goodness. We speak about rates so much, right? We speak about these things that are not as consequential, a multiple syllable word to say important, right? Than what the problem is at hand, right? So I know multiple buyers, and as we work in this business, we probably rack up a couple of dozen of them a year, maybe more, that were on the fence, didn't buy, right? And as the years accumulate, the years go by, and their situation stays the same. And if you're like me, you still stay in contact with them, right? So what is the situation? We talk about interest rates and payments. All these things are important, but right now we're dealing with a buyer's market. What that means is that sellers are trying to compete for your dollars. And I remember 2022 when it was the opposite. It's like you had a list of buyers looking to purchase a home, and if for so whatever reason you had an FHA loan, forget it. You weren't even in the picture. But now the tables have turned. Night has turned into day, right? And now we're dealing with a situation where whatever loan you have, they're looking for a buyer. The respect is back, right? So that being said, take advantage of that because what is the alternative? The alternative is that if you stay in the sidelines, you have flushed down the toilet tens of thousands of dollars of equity. Rental is not where it is. I remember when I first got my first apartment back in 2004, my rent was $600. Good luck trying to get something twice as much as that, right? Now it's for a two bedroom. So if I had a one bedroom, it might have been 500. But either way, we're living in a situation where prices are already fixed and they're going on a continual upward trend. That being said, why not take control of that price point and lock it in? Because when you get a mortgage, when you pay a home, that's benefit number one. You're able to lock in your mortgage payment. No one's going to come into you and tell you, "Hey, we had a 10% increase on your rent," because you have it locked in. That gives you a certain control over your future. And let's say prices continue to increase over the next decade. By having your housing expense locked in gives you leverage. Now, you don't believe me? Talk to people that locked in their mortgage 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Shoot, 6 years ago before COVID. Talk to them and see what they're paying and what their mindset and how much freedom and peace they have because they made the decision to lock in their house expense. Now, that being said, look, let's talk about the other thing. The other aspect of it of this interest rate, fear of interest rate dilemma that we're dealing with is that money that gets wasted, right? Whenever you pay your landlord or landlords, whoever they are, that money's gone. Yeah, you've gotten a housing expense, but you have not gotten any other benefit from it. And the difference in owning your home is far greater. That is to say, that when you own your home, the benefits you get, whether it's just being able to deduct the interest portions of your payment, are huge. Like, I think last I looked, and this is for people that know taxes, the standard deduction, which is where taxes start, right? For a head of household is about $21,000. That means they pay zero taxes up to $21,000. I think it's 21,995. Okay. What does that mean? That they only pay taxes above that. So let's say you're paying zero taxes up to your standard deduction. Let's call it 21,000 to make it clean, right? Whatever you make after that, if you're making 50,000, that means you're only paying taxes on the 30. And guess what? If you're able to deduct your interest from that, because interests are considerable, one of the things of a high interest environment compared to where we were 4 years ago when we were in a really low interest environment, is that that's a higher portion that's going to of your payment that's going to interest or higher amount. So it's no stranger to see people paying $1,000, $1,500 in interest alone on their payments, especially early on in the loan. So that money multiplied by 12 is considerable. And not only that, a good portion of that, if not all of that, I'm not sure what the details are state by state, or what, not seek a financial professional for that, but a good portion of that gets deducted against your income. That's a benefit. That's a huge benefit. That turns out to be potentially thousands of dollars of savings right there and then. When you're paying rent, you're just throwing money away, right? Or the opportunity away. Now, there is a case for rent, and I must say, right now, with all transparency, I am renting, right? But there's a case for that. But as far as whatever your long-term financial goals are, sometimes it's just that small window where it fits in, because long-term, you want to be able to mitigate or save whatever you can save when it comes to your finances. If you have an opportunity to save money, so I just mentioned rent or the interest component, but there's also depreciation, and that gets taken out. I think it's 2.73% total of what the value of the purchase or the value of the home, either or, whatever the value is. That's a huge percentage that is taken out yearly to deduct against your taxes. So collectively, they make a nice little cocktail of savings, right? So if you're not doing that, why aren't you doing it? Now, that being said, it brings me back to the interest rate argument. The interest rate argument is fascinating, it's interesting, but it never takes into the one, if not the biggest aspects of any financial decision, and that's time. The wasted time trying to wait into that perfect jump, jumping the rope or you're dumping double dutch, you wasted time. You're just there trying to get the momentum to jump, equals money. For example, someone paying $2,500 a month rent, which is, I'm sorry, here in Florida, where I'm from in Brevard County, Florida, it's common. It's common. It's not. It used to be that was the higher end, not the highest, but the higher end of rentals. But it's common now. $2,500 a month is $30,000 a year. 2 years of inactivity is $60,000. 3 years of inactivity, which I know people who've done this, is $90,000. That $90,000 that they're paying on rent has gone. You could just flush it down the toilet, throw it down a trash compactor. It doesn't matter. It's gone, right? Whereas if you're renting or if you purchased a home, that money is now applied to interest and principal. And there's elements of it coming back. And like I mentioned before, you have the price guarantee of your loan being fixed. Most of us have fixed rates anyway, but you have that price guarantee. The variable rates are different, and really they've won throughout the past 15, 20 years. Variable rates have won big time. Anyway, that being said, I'll cap this off with this. When it comes to your decision of renting or getting off the sidelines and owning, look, there's too much information and too many cases for owning. And if you allow time to go by, like me, you're going to continue to pay rent, right? If you allow time to get by, time won't be the only thing that passes you by. It'll also be money. So be wise. Think about your decisions. Right now, we're having the Florida Heroes program, which will pay for closing costs and down payment. I think it comes in live on the 18th of August. Let's take advantage of that. That's a huge entry point to be able to come in there without tens of thousands of dollars of down payment and closing costs. Huge entry point. So see where your situation is and stop just spending and throwing money out the window. Now, for those who have a purpose in it, this is not for you. So don't think I've offended you. You know what you're doing. You're good with your money. go ahead. But for those that are looking to build and set themselves up in a better foundation, and really and truly, when it comes to wealth creation, the purchasing of a home is the number one, I guess, the biggest or the biggest factor in wealth creation here in America. It just sets that foundation. What you do after that gets built on that. So I know there's naysayers there, but do what works for you, do what works for you, and do what's worked for others. If you don't have the skills, like let's say Grant Cardone, to break this down and have this knowledge and be an insider, do the simple stuff. Start there and do what's worked for others. I've seen home purchasing be a lifesaver to many of my clients. I see them they through equity and through the acquisition of property, they were able to do things that they would not be able to do otherwise. So again, if you're on the sidelines, think about that huge factor that many times goes unsaid: time. Time does equal money. And if time is not on your side, money definitely won't be. Signing off. You guys been great. See you next time.